Hello drama lovers, welcome back to my channel. Breaking news. For 12 years, Menglong smiled for the cameras. 12 years, he bowed, thanked fans, and played the role of a grateful actor. But what if that smile was a shield? What if the silence was never consent but survival? Tonight, we follow the clues no one wanted to see. The marks on his neck, the emptiness in his eyes, and the courage it took to finally let the truth breathe. Menglong wasn't he supposed to become this story? He debuted quietly, worked endlessly, and built his career step by step through costume dramas, modern romances, and years of being labeled reliable but replaceable. To fans, he was gentle. To the industry, he was obedient. And to himself, he was trapped. If you go back and rewatch his early interviews, there's something haunting about them. His words were polite, perfectly safe. But his eyes, they often looked tired, like someone constantly measuring what not to say. In fan meetings, he smiled wide, but the smile never reached his gaze. At the time, people called it shyness. Now, many believe it was fear. The first whispers didn't come from headlines. They came from screenshots, slowed-down videos, and fans who noticed details others ignored. Red marks near his neck during public appearances. Scarves worn indoors. Styling choices that felt less like fashion and more like camouflage. Coincidence? That's what everyone wanted to believe. Because in the Chinese entertainment industry, where power flows downward and contracts are iron cages, asking questions can cost everything. Careers vanish overnight. Names are erased from platforms. And silence is often the price of survival. Menglong stayed silent for years. But silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. Sometimes, it means something is happening every single day. Behind the scenes, insiders began to hint at harsh management, psychological pressure, and control that crossed the line from strict to cruel. Schedules with no rest. Verbal degradation disguised as discipline. Isolation masked as professional focus. And still, Menglong showed up. Still, he performed. Here's the chilling part. Fans now believe he was leaving messages, tiny, fragmented cries for help. Song lyrics he shared. Quotes about cages, shadows, and breathing freely just once. Characters he chose that mirrored entrapment. It was never loud enough to be undeniable. But it was persistent. And that persistence leads us to the moment everything changed. Because one day, the industry's perfect silence cracked. And Menglong stopped hiding his neck. Transition, but scars don't appear overnight, and neither does courage. To understand why this moment mattered so deeply, we have to look at what 12 years of control can do to a human soul. 12 years is a long time to live inside fear. Sources close to the situation describe an environment where Menglong's autonomy slowly disappeared. Decisions about his body, his schedule, even his expressions were no longer his own. Management wasn't just managing work, it was managing obedience. In this kind of system, resistance doesn't start with shouting. It starts with doubt. With sleepless nights. With the question, if I speak, will anyone believe me? For Menglong, the answer always seemed to be no. So he endured. And endurance changes people. It hollows them out. You begin to move on instinct, not desire. You learn how to dissociate, to be present without being there. Fans noticed how his interviews became shorter, his laughter softer, his energy dimmer. But the industry praised his professionalism. What they called professionalism may have been self-preservation. Then came the physical signs fans couldn't unsee. The marks. The tension when someone reached toward him unexpectedly. The way he flinched just slightly before catching himself. None of this was proof. But together, it formed a pattern. And patterns are dangerous. Because patterns demand answers. The most heartbreaking theory is this: Menglong wasn't he waiting for fame or revenge. He was waiting for safety. Waiting until the balance of power shifted just enough. Waiting until the world was ready to listen, until fans were louder than contracts. When he finally stepped forward, it wasn't he explosive. There was no dramatic press conference. No screaming accusations. Just honesty. Calm. Controlled. And devastating. In speaking up, Menglong wasn't he just exposing his own pain. He was challenging an entire system that thrives on silence. And suddenly, fans weren't just fans anymore, they became witnesses. Social media ignited. Hashtags surged. International fans, especially women who understood fear and restraint too well, rallied around him. They dissected timelines, protected evidence, and demanded accountability. For the first time in 12 years, Menglong wasn't he alone. Transition, but telling the truth is only half the battle. What comes next is the most fragile part of any survivor's story: the aftermath. When the truth comes out, it doesn't arrive gently. For Menglong, the aftermath was a storm of support and skepticism. While fans flooded him with love, the industry responded with something colder: distance. Projects paused. Names went quiet. Familiar patterns of punishment began to surface, the unspoken consequences of breaking silence. This is how power protects itself. Instead of addressing the accusations directly, attention shifted. Distractions emerged. New scandals elsewhere. The narrative tried to move on, hoping memory would fade. But this time, it didn't. Because something fundamental had changed. Menglong's story wasn't just about him anymore. It echoed the experiences of countless artists, idols, actors, trainees who had been taught that suffering was the entry fee for success. That pain was normal. That speaking up was ungrateful. Fans refused to accept that. They noticed how Menglong's demeanor subtly transformed after speaking out. He stood straighter. His voice steadied. The emptiness in his eyes began to soften.